Hi guys, my name is Cam. Tonight I'll be taking my 2003 V35 Nissan Skyline down the drag strip. So I thought I'd put together this quick video, show you guys the ins and outs of how it's done. Basically something that anyone can do. Now this will be the fourth time I've been down to the drags. Each time I've shown considerable improvement. My best time is 14.2 at 160 kilometers an hour. Or if you're in America or the UK, it'd be about 100 miles an hour. Tonight, with some improvements that I've made to the car, I'm actually hoping to break into the 13 seconds, and which would then set a new personal best. Now, before we get into it though, we'll just have a look at some ins and outs of drag racing, what's required, and then we'll have a look at the car first before we put up any videos of how things have gone. So first things first, I would suggest going to the website of the drag strip. I'll be going to a special theme night, so that's pretty common for drag places to run theme nights. If you're driving a Skyline tonight, you'll get to run for $20, where the normal entry fee is $60. So it's a good sort of thing to do. It also means that you're competing with cars that have something in common. So tonight it'll be Skylines. I've also been to other ones where it's imports only, as well as Nissan versus Honda night that I went to. I think it was the first time I went down. Now what you'll find is that each place has their own sort of rules and regulations. What sort of clothing do you have to wear? What do the passengers have to wear? Do you have to wear a helmet? What sort of exhaust modifications are allowed? It's not allowed to exceed a certain amount of decibels and things like that. If your car runs quicker than a certain time, you might be required to be running a roll cage, or may not be allowed to have passengers and things like that. Now in Australia, irrespective of whether your car runs 10-second quarter miles or 20-second quarter miles, one of the prerequisites is that you must wear a helmet. And must comply with Australian Standard 1698. Now that may differ in other countries. I believe in America you don't even need to wear a helmet if your car's running more than 14 seconds or 13 seconds or something like that. So make sure you do check the website for whoever's running the event, just to make sure you are across the board, because the last thing you would want is to actually get down there, pass through scrutineering, only to be turned away because you haven't got a helmet or you haven't got the right helmet. This is my car. It's a 2003 V35 Nissan Skyline 350 GT, known commonly in the United States as an Infiniti G35. As you can see here, mine actually came from Japan with the Infiniti badging. Now, I'm actually the first Australian owner of this car. It was imported from Japan at about 77,000 kilometres about 3.5 years ago. It's now sitting at about 111,000 kilometres. So I've done over 30,000 in the car in the last 3.5 years. So I'm trying to keep the kilometres down as well as I can, but being a daily drive, it's a little bit hard sometimes to do that. Originally the idea was to keep the car stock, but that didn't really last very long. So the first thing I did is actually track down a set of factory 19-inch raised forged rims. Put on some vented slotted rotors, Apexy cold air intake, InGen cold air intake. It's got an Apexy catback exhaust system, 1/2-inch plenum spacer, and now recently installed some split fire coil packs, as well as some stainless steel test pipes. From factory they make 280 horsepower at the engine, which generally boils down to about 220 at the wheels. Based on the current setup, I'd say the car's anywhere from 240 to 250 rear wheel horsepower based on its current setup. Okay, so there's plenty of videos out there from guys showing you how to stage up and all that sort of stuff, so I'm not going to run through that with you. Ideally what you want to do though is head down on as low a fuel as you can get, with still enough being left over to kind of get you home. So the leaner the fuel amount in the tank, the quicker times you're going to run, because really a full tank of fuel in a car like this probably weighs as much as an adult passenger would. And I found that actually dropping my brother out of the car the first time I went down there, I shaved nearly 2/100ths of a second off my time. Secondly, what you want to keep an eye on are your revs. So the car will actually rev to 7,000 RPM. Every car's different, so don't blow up your engine and blame me on that. But essentially what you want to do, accounting for lag, is shift up just on or just after 6,500 RPM. And basically what that does, it's better to shift late than to shift early, because even if you shift late, you end up higher in the power band in the next gear. Now, being a Japanese import, in Japan all cars are speed limited to 180 kilometers an hour. This car won't see that. I'm thinking it's probably going to finish around about 160 to 170 kilometers an hour, which would be the fastest I've potentially gone in this car. But we'll see how we go tonight. I'll post up some videos attached to this video as well, and we'll see how that goes. Now, another thing that you'll need to do is keep an eye on the temperature. And I'm not talking about just the car temperature. I'm talking about the ambient temperature. The first time that I went down, it was still 26 degrees Celsius at about 8:30 at night, which is why I struggled. I think I ran a very, very high 14.6. So essentially a 14.7, just because of that hot temperature. The next time I went down, I'd serviced the car and it was about 17 or 18 degrees. And the car actually ended up running a 14.4 that night. So tonight the temperature should hopefully be in the very low teens, in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, mind you. So I'm hoping that's the case, because the car tends to drive much better when it's cold and chilly than when it's hot. So this is it. Just got to make a detour, pick up the old man. I promised him next time I was heading down that I would let him tag along. He's knows his way around a race car. He used to race speedway when I was a kid, but I don't think he's ever been drag racing before. So I think he'll be pretty excited to come along and do this. It'll probably take me about 15 minutes to get to his place, so I won't bore you the whole way along. So I'm hoping for some good things. The temperature's already starting to drop down now. So if I can get the temperature down to around about between 10 and 15 degrees Celsius, I should be pretty happy with that. Should do some pretty good passes. I forgot to mention as well, I installed a big automatic transmission cooler, and the car's got a new radiator installed in it as well, so hopefully that should keep the temperatures down. Last time I ended up leaving after about 5 runs, because after the 3rd run the times just started progressively getting worse, despite the fact that I felt I was actually driving the car a lot better. So it should be a good night. There's not really a lot of V35 Skylines around Australia. It wasn't as popular a car over here as it was in the United States. I think in the States you guys never got the turbo Skylines that we got over here. Because of our close proximity to Japan, it's very common for people to import R-Series Skylines, so R32s, 33s and 34s. And because the RB powered Skylines are turbocharged from factory, it's very easy to make extra horsepower out of them. So that's why V35s were kind of seen as the black sheep of the Skyline family. Despite the fact that in stock form these cars run times comparable or quicker than most of the R-Series non-GTR Skylines. In fact, last time last year's Skyline night, I look on a few of the faces with the R34 GTTs where I beat them. I got some nice comments about the car from those guys. So I've run it down pretty low. It's on just above a quarter of a tank, just one notch above a quarter of a tank. So that should be enough to get me down there, get a few runs, get me home, and going away for the long weekend. So won't need to fill it up till Monday when the price of fuels drop back down. Well guys, I'll meet you down the track. So this is it, attempt number 1. My dad got kicked out of the car because he didn't bring his driver's license with him. So not the smartest thing to do, but that's okay. So he's going to take some photos and spectate from up above. Not a good launch at all. Fuck, that was a terrible launch.
The bloody started, yeah.
So run number 2. So my first run was high 14.4 at just a touch shy of 160 kilometers an hour. So I've actually matched my best speed, but the launch wasn't very good. So I definitely think there's room for improvement here. The potential still there for a very low 14 or high 13, I think. So we'll give this a run now. Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm about to race a 32 GTR. I actually went up against that silver R34 in the last one. He beat me, just his terminal speed was about 8 kilometers an hour faster than mine. But we ran a very similar time. He was about 2/100ths of a second quicker than me. This GTR though, he should absolutely annihilate me. So let's give it a go anyway. I'll do my best. Worst case scenario, you're going to see me get blasted by a Skyline GTR. Now I could do a burnout, but it's probably only going to light one, so instead of embarrassing myself, I'll do the honourable thing. And I redlined first and second. What a fucking rookie. Oh my god, unbelievable. Okay, about to commence run number 3. Run number 2 was exactly the same as run number 1. Same terminal speed, same time, same everything. I did bash limiter in first and second though. I think that must have cost me a little bit of time. The launch was better, but still not perfect. It's been about 20 minutes since the last run. Ambient temperature still 22 degrees, so it's still pretty warm down here. I've opened the bonnet after the last race. I opened the hood to let some of that hot air dissipate, because it just seems like the intake was sucking in hot air. But let's give this one a shot and see how we go. Looks like I'll be up against a white R33 in this one. Looks pretty typical, so we'll see. give you a look at him. So I should be up against this guy right here, R33 GDS 25T. So fingers crossed I can take that guy at least. I'd like to race against someone of similar capacity, just to see how my times at the different traps compare to theirs and see what sort of area there is for improvement. Oh no, it doesn't look like I'll be against that white 33 after all. An old HR special. Can't believe that temperature though. Oh, I'm doing the white 33. Done it. I think I might have cracked 160, and it still had some legs, man. It was about, well, didn't even redline, and I beat that 33, so that'll be interesting to see what time he ran. So this is run number 4. So run number 3 was actually 14.4 flat at 160 kilometers an hour. So had a bit of wheel spin on launch. I think the temperature's still a bit warm, but it's come down a couple of degrees now. I'm hoping that might make a big difference. Again, I popped the hood after the last one. It's been about 20 minutes since the last run as well. So look, really, if it's not going to do anything, that temperature's not going to get any lower, it's not going to run a better time. So I'm just happy to get another run or two out of it. Looks like I'll be up against a R33, gunmetal, not even gunmetal, dark charcoal. Unfortunately, he has a drag spoiler on the back of it, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to get my ass handed to me in a minute, as I'm sure you guys are going to see. 14.7. Ah, I thought he was actually quicker than that. Looks like someone's dropped some oil on the track. It's not good. Scream. Okay, so there's only one other V35 Nissan Skyline that's turned up tonight. It's actually a guy from the car group. I've never met him before. A guy called Adam. So he's got a 6-speed manual, got some decent mods, putting around about 235 at the wheels. So we've organised with one of the race coordinators for us to run together. He hasn't had a good night so far. His best run's only a 14.8, so pretty hopeful I'm going to beat this guy.
Just when they're there, just let them run the purple one solo.
Yep.
And then the two Skylines will go together.
Okay, thank you. So we're getting ready to go. VDC off. It's gonna be fun. 5 or 6 car lengths. That was good fun. Oh, well, I don't think that was a particularly good time, but I beat him. So let's see what the terminal speed and what the trap time was. Fuck. Well, that was a little bit disappointing. Only managed 14.4 across the runs at around about 160 kilometres an hour. So the car's, the terminal speed's about the same as it's always been, but I've somehow lost 3/100ths of a second somewhere along the line. So I think maybe a tune will fix things, but time will tell. I think that's it for now. I've punished the car enough. So yeah, look, I might do a few more videos like this along the line. So if you do like them, like the videos, share them and subscribe them, and thanks for watching.